It doesn't matter what you can do theoretically, it matters what you can do practically. You may feel like you're not as qualified for a specific role, but if you have the hard skills and you can communicate that well, you can catapult to the highest levels. No matter what background you come from, you can learn sales, engineering, Java, 35, 40, 45, 25, whatever age you are, you're navigating a new landscape, but it's not impossible. And if God empowers you, man, if God has you for that career, do it. I grew up around hip hop. I wanted to be a ball player and a rapper. And a lot of this stuff is smoke and mirrors, man. Even in the Christian space, dude, like you see these people doing good, and trust me when I say they're not doing good. If I came out from the trenches, from the gutter, I feel a duty and a responsibility to give back. If that doesn't push you and motivate you, man, I don't know what will.
So listen, y'all, let's be real. For those of y'all who've known anything about me before getting into the tech industry, one of the things y'all know is that, I started out as an artist. Now, I was a spoken word artist, but I was doing a lot of spoken word, poetry. I was heavy in of course, the Christian community, which I'm still a believer, still love Jesus, all that good stuff. But I was very heavy in the community to where I was doing a lot of poetry. I was around a lot of different like Christian hip hop artists, sometimes just other artists in general. And one of the things that I run into now being in the tech space, the people who don't know me, that they come to me and they're like, man, I'm interested in this tech stuff. They're like, man, but I'm a creative though. I'm an artist. I don't really feel like I could fit in that space because I'm just such a creative. And I kind of like laugh and chuckle because I'm like, well, I mean, I'm still a creative. I was a creative. I still am a creative. But then many times they're like, well, man, besides, man, I was like a music artist, or I still desire to be an artist, or I do this other thing. And it's like, yo, we got to have some conversations with people that are creatives, that are still creatives, and that honestly have been able to make it further in their artistry journey than the majority of people have. Been able to be around certain people, have certain opportunities that most haven't seen. Nevertheless, they still are not just in tech, but they're thriving in tech as well. And so we're gonna have these conversations, talk about how they're able to make that work, what they were able to do, and most importantly, how you can benefit from this conversation as well. Look, y'all know what it is. Man, look, bro, I want to say congratulations first and foremost, but secondly, thank you, Nico, for being on Tech is the New Black.
I appreciate you, man. It's an honor to be on the podcast, man.
Hey, bro, this is fire because I know we connected recently a couple months ago,
yes,
or a few months ago, same thing. And since there, I was like, yo, let me check your stuff out. And I was like, yo, this guy makes some fire content. And I said, yo, his stuff is dope. And I'm gonna be real, I don't like to follow a lot of people, and it's not because I'm not one of those people that's like bougie. Like people on social media are bougie, they act like they Hollywood. I really don't care about the followers, stuff like that. I play the game, but at the end of the day, it's all silly. But it's like, I like to follow people where I'm like, yo, you're doing stuff that inspires me. You're doing things that I feel like is giving value to my eyes. And it's likewise. I'm like, yo, I like to post content that I feel like is providing some level of value to people. And so when I saw your content, I was like, yo, this dude's dropping some cool stuff, creative content. I said, man, it's beautifully shot, the way he's editing things. I said, yo, I got to follow. I got to continue to look into this stuff because I straight up love it. But also, I loved it because I'm like, yo, this man's, the whole time I'm watching this stuff, I'm like, yo, this bro, he in tech too.
Yes, sir.
And it's like, that makes it doubly fire. It's like, yo, he's a content creator. He's killing it. But it's like, yo, a lot of people don't know this man is funding a lot of the things he's doing with that tech bag.
Facts.
Bruh. So man, so let's get into it. So I didn't even know until like, I saw your stuff for your bio and I was preparing. I didn't even know you were an immigrant. Like, I was like, okay, I'm thinking like, yo, bro, born here or whatever. Obviously, I didn't think you were like, white American or Native American or anything like that.
Sure.
But that being said, like, you're an immigrant from Colombia. Shouts out to people from Colombia. And bro, like, first off, like, where in Colombia were you born at? How long were you there? And when did you come here? What was that like?
Yeah, man. So I was born in Bogota, Colombia in 1991. So for context for everybody, Pablo Escobar was assassinated in 1993.
Oh.
So I was born towards the tail end of the Escobar era. Now, if you ask me or most Colombian-born people about Narcos or the Escobar era, we do not like it.
Yeah.
It was terrorism at its finest.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So my mom's cousin assassinated by the Escobar regime, right? Wow. And by 1998, my parents decided, you know what? This is not the country that we want to. We love Colombia. Colombians are nationalists. They love Colombia. You know what I mean? So we'll put the flag up. But at the end of the day, when you're a young parent, you don't want your kids to be born and raised in that type of environment. So 98, they moved us to the States, and I was 7 years old, man. And I remember waking up that day and leaving my country. And yeah, man, it was a rug pull for sure. My parents had a paid off home, paid off car, family, friends, and they left everything behind to chase the American dream. You know what I mean?
Bro, that's so beautiful to hear things like that. You know, since moving to Miami recently, and mind you, I've always all my life known a lot of immigrants, and a lot of different people that had recently came here, but moving to Miami is like on another level. Yeah. I meet the majority of people that I meet are not from the U.S.
Right.
And in meeting them and hearing their stories and you know, just a variety of different stories, is realizing like, yo, we're really blessed here in this country. Now, mind you, this country, it's a lot of goofy stuff going on.
Thanks. Yeah.
And, you know, people are complaining about things, you know, but at the end of the day, I'm like, yo, to see what other people are going through in other places.
Right.
And to them, people look at the goofy stuff we do here and are like, what are y'all doing in America or specifically in the US? And it's like, nevertheless, one of the things that I think that we miss out on is really just how blessed we are. That I think many of us like overlook.
Yeah.
And so you came here at 7 and like you said, rug pull. Like at the time, were you able to, like, were you speaking English at the time? Like what was that experience like even growing up here?
Sure. So I was fortunate. So I don't want to say I was not lucky. I was fortunate because in Colombia, you have private education.
Yeah.
And you have public education. And most people, even if they're lower middle class, they want to put their kids in private education. So I went to private education. I went to a Catholic school, and then I came here, and it was crazy, bro. Like I felt like the public education system was insane. Like I felt like I was 7 and I could easily bypass anybody who was like 9, 10, 11 years old. Yeah. With my education in Colombia. So the first 3 months was literally just learning English. And once I learned English, they're like, yo, this kid's smart, that, the third, whatever. But I knew it wasn't because of the fact that I was smart. I knew that it was because of the fact that I had gotten a good education in Colombia.
Yeah.
So most people don't know that. And this is one of the things that I want to impress upon people is like, just because you don't know the language doesn't mean you're not smart. And in Florida, bro, and Texas and California, you have brilliant people, smart people, good-hearted people.
Yeah.
And they don't know the English language. They can't navigate the language the way that most American people can. Yeah. But they can contribute to this country in a very important way. Yeah. So, you know.
Yeah, I think that's really major. Eric, were you about to say something?
Yeah, I was definitely about to say something. And I don't even know if it's that significant, but I think that's important to what you just said about like just because you don't know a language don't mean that you're not smart. Because my wife's Dominican, and we go to Dominican Republic a lot. And although I'm not extremely fluent in Spanish, I know that I know the level of intelligence I have, but sometimes I can find myself like feeling like, dang man, I feel stupid because I can't communicate with these people. But in the States, like I'm doing a whole lot of stuff. So that's powerful that you just shared that like just because you don't know a language, like don't mean that you're stupid. So that's a word for somebody.
Yeah.
Yes, sir.
I think if anything, one of the things that I've been able to peep game on being in Miami is I see people that they barely know English. But it's so interesting. In some ways, they're smarter than other people because I think it's because since they've had to navigate a landscape where they don't fully understand the language, it's almost as if their brains are able to pick up on things without language. Like they're able to notice things faster than other people can.
And it's really just the language, not the skills to do anything. It's just the language.
Yeah. That's so real. That's so real. And I think kind of in that, it kind of makes me think about how there are a lot of people that are new to tech. And I promise y'all, like a lot of people see me and they're like, man, Cyrus, you got in tech and you were able to scale so fast. Even at the companies that I was able to jump to, the movements I was able to make. And I mean, even my first company that I was at, my first quarter actually out in the field as a sales engineer, I outperformed all of the sales engineers in the company, even up to the senior and principal level in terms of how much money I brought the company in that quarter. And it was my first quarter. That's and mind you, the whole time I wasn't sure if I even knew. I'm thinking in my mind, like, man, am I doing good? Everybody's telling me, like, Cyrus, you're crushing it, you're killing it. And I'm like, oh, they just being nice to me because I'm the new guy. you know, because I'm black. They just trying to be nice, make me feel good, butter me up. But then, like, when I finally had a time to breathe and I felt like I was kind of getting things under control, and I actually was like, let me look at the numbers to see, because I'm thinking like, okay, hopefully I'm not the bottom person. I went and looked, and I was like, wait, I'm the top person. And it's so crazy because I was the least qualified, because even the other person that was as new as me, he was already an engineer. He was an electrical engineer, but he was already an engineer. He went to UGA and Georgia State University, and no college, none of that education. And I was like, yo, that's crazy.
Yeah.
And I think within that, there's a superpower that's sometimes in you not understanding the language. And again, we're using language right now metaphorically. You not fully being so integrated into the tech space and knowing all of the jargon, all the lingo, everything that's going on, to where it forces you to, one, lean on other skill sets that you have, whereas other people can rely on their vast knowledge that they already have, and it can make them miss out on other forms of, using that metaphor, other forms of communication. Where some people just use language in terms of like speaking, whereas the majority of communication is nonverbal. And likewise, there are skill sets, and not just myself, this is, I mean, everybody in this room, but also those of y'all that are viewing and listening, there are skill sets that we have that are valuable to the tech industry that are not necessarily technical. And so anyway, I went off on a huge spiral, huge tangent, but I was just kind of thinking about, like, I was like, man, because I was really thinking, I said, yo, I've been amazed at how brilliant people are that can't even speak English. Like, I'm watching them do things, and I'm watching them pick up on things and then be like, no, and I'm like, oh, they peeping game with all type of stuff. And I'm like, I'm thinking through that, and I'm like, yo, that shows how deeply woven and powerful like God has truly made us to be. And sometimes we like limit ourselves and rely too much on just one particular thing.
Right. No, you said it all right there, bro. Because I was just gonna say that for me, when I learned, so one of the first languages that I learned was Java. Yeah. And I remember learning English for the first time. And I said, you know, my parents did it when they were 35. I'm learning it when I'm 32, right? Or 31 at the time. If they did it,
your parents learned English at 35. You're saying you're learning Java at 35.
Exactly.
Okay, cool. I was making sure I was following.
Yes, sir. Yeah. So I said, if they can learn English, navigate the financial landscape of a new country, navigate the policies, the culture, all that stuff, I'm just learning one language, bro.
Come on.
You know what I'm saying? Like, I'm already living here, dog. Yeah. Like, so for me, I was like, if they can do it, I can do it too. And that's what I want to empower people today. It's like, no matter what background you come from, you can learn sales, engineering, you can learn Java, you can learn whatever language you want today, 35, 40, 45, 25, whatever age you are, you're navigating a new landscape, yes. Yeah. But it's not impossible. And if God empowers you, man, come on. There's no boundaries, bro. There's no boundaries, man. If God has you for that career, do it. Because you can impact more people than you believe. Like, if God has you for that role, if God has you for that career, if God has you for that job, that industry, you will impact people in ways that you don't even know, man. Yeah, bro. It's insane. It's insane.
I love it. Hey, so listen, y'all, we need to talk about Pivot Tech Bootcamp. Pivot Tech is a virtual bootcamp that guarantees job placement. Yes, y'all heard that correct. They guarantee job placement. Now, they have a variety of different courses, including what the guest is talking about that you're listening to right now. But outside of those courses, they also assist with different forms of mentorship and other forms of education. Not only do they provide mentorship and career placement, but we've partnered with them and they're allowing our audience up to $300 off with our discount link, techisthenewblack. So again, that's hashtag techisthenewblack to get up to $300 off their courses. Now again, y'all, they're worth checking out. They guarantee career placement, but when you do their boot camp, make sure to keep us posted on your journey breaking into tech. All right, so you came into America as an immigrant. We talked a little bit about your experience early on. Now, we also know that we touched a little bit on you being an artist, being a creative. Yes, sir. So, bro, we got to dive into that, because we can't just jump to, okay, you're in tech now. We got to dive into, okay, what all was Nico's experience, late teens, 20s, all of that? What did that look like?
So, mind you, I came from a very traumatic experience in Colombia. My my parents had assassination attempts. We came here as asylum refugees, right? So when I say that I came here 7 years old, and I tried to assimilate to the American culture. The way that I assimilated was through hip hop.
Yeah.
Because for me, that was the disenfranchised, poverty-stricken, violence-ridden. That's what Colombia is.
Yeah.
You go to the hood, that's the same thing that it is, you know?
Yeah.
Colombia is the second most, in terms of population-wise, percentage-wise. You have the second most Afro-Latino, right? You have a mix of cultures, and you also have political corruption. You had drug trade. You had all this stuff, bro.
Yeah.
So we came out of that, and we come to this country not welcomed. All good. I want to earn my respect. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
When you come into tech, you want to earn your respect. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
you work
that's
for
real.
that.
Yeah.
So when I was, when I was young, I had a lot of imposter syndrome. I felt like I wasn't, I didn't have the confidence. So as I'm growing up, the way that I articulated my confidence was through education. I did well in school. I was fine. But somewhere along the line, man, I fell in love with hip hop because I love that storyline. I love the fact that like there was young, whether it was African American, Latino people that came from the struggle, that came from the same gutter that I came from and made something out of nothing. They didn't, and I might get canceled for this, man.
Bro, say
but they didn't take a victimhood mentality.
Come on.
You know what I mean? They took ownership for this is where I'm at. Yeah. This is where I want to be. You know what I mean? So I'm gonna take my skill set the best to my ability, to the best of my ability, and I'm gonna make something out of that.
That's real.
And I saw entrepreneurs. I saw incredibly intelligent people. I saw people who were articulate with their words, salesmen. But they translated that and they transferred that from doing things that were not productive to their neighborhoods to doing something that was like, all right, we're telling our story. Sometimes it wasn't the best, right, for their neighborhoods because they were articulating a story that was reciprocated upon and that continued to perpetuate that same storyline, right?
And even popularized it.
Yeah, and popularized it. But at the same time, they were just telling their story from their vantage point, right?
Yeah.
All that to say, man, I fell in love with hip hop around the middle school age. I'm recording, learning to record myself, learning to make beats. By the time I get into high school, man, I'm getting a little bit of local notoriety, and I decide that I'm gonna become a rapper. That's gonna be either a ball player. I'm 5'10", so that's not gonna work out. You know what I mean? That scrawny dude. So I'm like, all right, 5'10", scrawny dude. So let me be a rapper. So then I start going down that path. I start getting a little bit of notoriety, and then in college, man, I find God, dude, or God finds me. You know what I mean? Dang. And I decide I want to make a bigger impact with my music. And by that time, I'm going to school. I got a full ride scholarship to the University of Florida, which, for the record, Wall Street Journal just recognized the University of Florida for the #1 public school in the nation.
Oh, snap.
You know what I mean? I got in there for mechanical engineering.
Okay.
My first year. And I'm recording, doing videos on the weekends, going to mechanical engineering school during the day. But at the same time, man, I'm torn, man. Like I don't love the mechanical engineering route. So long story short, I pivot to advertising because I know I'm good with videography. I'm good with the graphic design. I'm good with all that stuff. And so my parents didn't have the financial capabilities to back me up with mechanical engineering. It was a 5-year program. If I failed the class, I had to pay back the scholarship that I had gotten because of my academia or whatever. So, all right. So I'm going to become a rapper, and I'm going to get a advertising degree, and I'm going to market my music to the world. And that's what I thought. I
mean, that's smarter than some people. You at least were like, let me pair it with a true skill. And not rapping is still a skill, but let me pair it with a hard skill, and then like help expose and blow up my rapping career.
But the funny thing is, man, and I say this to tell people, college did not give me the hard skills. I learned the hard skills through YouTube University, man. I learned video production, graphic design, marketing, all through YouTube. Nowadays, if you take a boot camp, if you take a course online, you can learn that skill set. The matter of time that it took me, it was like five years. You could compress that to 3 months, and you can get on that train, and you can learn more than I learned in college. And by the time I graduated, I didn't have a job lined up. I was still a starving artist. And I said, I got to pivot. You know what I mean? I got to pivot. So that's what it was.
So I know we were talking earlier about, we'll come back to that. So I want to, let's continue on this point. So you mentioned that you had to pivot. You had finished college. You're like, okay, I'm still starving artist, got to pivot. So is that where you pivoted over to tech?
No. I wish.
Okay, cool. All right. So what'd you pivot to?
So when I was looking for jobs online, I knew that I was a good graphic designer. I knew that I was a good videographer. I had an advertising degree. So I looked online, and all the jobs were in tech. Web developer, UI, UX designer, right? Even in marketing, I couldn't find a job. And so I'm like, all right, I know eventually I got to learn some code. I got to learn this. I got to learn the tech trade. But not right now. So I started to learn sales. So I went into a cold calling environment, which was not, the company that I was working at wasn't the best. And that's one of the things that I want to impress upon people is like, you have to find the right company for you as well. The company that will help develop your skill set, the company that will help support you, right? So after I graduated school, 2012, went into the workplace, and when I started doing sales, I'm like, I don't feel comfortable with that. I want to be a little bit more creative. So I ended up in the insurance game in Tampa, Florida, through one of my best friends, John Levi Davidson. What's up, bro? Yeah, man, he hooked me up 2014. And through that, I was still pursuing music part-time. Ended up getting an MBA through that company and was working full-time as an insurance adjuster.
Man, so, all right, so you got in as an insurance adjuster.
Yes, sir.
And how old were you around this time?
Bro, I was 2014. I was 23 years old.
Okay, 23.
Yeah.
Man, you know what's so crazy? Hearing all of the things that you were saying you were doing and how you felt like, okay, man, I finished school and I still didn't have anything. In my head, I'm thinking like you're like 29 or something.
Yeah, nah, man.
It's so funny to see how young you still were.
Yeah.
But at the same time, your aspirations of things that you wanted to do and where you wanted to be at was still so broad. And part of me almost attributes that to, I kind of think back to when you mentioned like you being like, 7, 8 or 9 years old, and you saying like you were far advanced from some of the other kids. And it's almost kind of crazy. Like today, a lot of people are, I feel like there's a lot of laziness that's going on today. And I mean, I blame a lot of it just on the state of our nation and things like that, and just the state of how we're kind of very coddled in a lot of different ways. And so just kind of hearing that and hearing just where your mindset was at and just how much you were grinding. Because I know at 23, I was not where I should have, could have been. I mean, praise God, I'm at a dope spot now. But it's just dope hearing just even where you were at, even though where you're at is not where you wanted to be. It's not even where you're at now.
Sure.
But it was still like at a dope spot, but you still wanted so much more for yourself.
Yeah, I think a lot of it was taking personal responsibility. You know what I mean? And I just downloaded Jocko Willink's Extreme Ownership.
Yeah,
right?
he'll hype you up.
But it's funny because I'm reading that book and I'm like, I felt that when I was 7 years old, when my dad left to the United States.
Yeah.
And my dad told me, "You're the man of the house now."
Ooh.
At 7 years old, you're the man of the house now. He left 3 months before we came to the States. He said, "You're the man of the house now." I was the oldest in the house, and ever since then, man, like I felt like I was supposed to provide for not just myself, my mom, my sister, my dad. So when I came to the States, man, I felt like this extreme ownership to like want to do better for not just myself. And I think that's one of those things, man. It's mission driven. Like if you don't have a purposeful why are you doing what you're doing?
Yeah.
What do you want to do? It's gonna end, you know? You have to have a purposeful why. And then once you find that why, you can find out the what, how to do it. And bro, believe when I say, man, tech is a huge leverage.
Yeah.
Naval Ravikant says, tech and media. Those are the two things as a single person, as somebody who is an individual contributor, those two things will up your leverage more than you can imagine.
Yeah.
Think of, I mean, the billionaires of today, right? They have leverage because of why? Tech
Media.
and media.
Yeah, that's
Joe
real.
Rogan, right? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
You know, Elon Musk.
Huge.
So it's those things. So I feel like if you can teach people the language of today. What is the language of today? Tech and media.
Yeah.
Those two factors, man.
It's so crazy. Even you mentioned that. You mentioned.
You just realized your business needed to hire someone yesterday. How can you find amazing candidates fast? Easy. Just use Indeed. Stop struggling to get your job post seen on other job sites. With Indeed sponsored jobs, your post jumps to the top of the page for your relevant candidates, so you can reach the people you want faster. According to Indeed data, sponsored jobs posted directly on Indeed have 45% more applications than non-sponsored jobs. Don't wait any longer. Speed up your hiring right now with Indeed. And listeners of this show will get a $75 sponsored job credit to get your jobs more visibility at Indeed.com/kidsandfamily. Just go to Indeed.com/kidsandfamily right now and support our show by saying you heard about Indeed on this podcast. Terms and conditions apply. Hiring? Indeed is all you need. You just realized your business needed to hire someone yesterday. How can you find amazing candidates fast? Easy. Just use Indeed. Stop struggling to get your job post seen on other job sites. With Indeed sponsored jobs, your post jumps to the top of the page for your relevant candidates, so you can reach the people you want faster. According to Indeed data, sponsored jobs posted directly on Indeed have 45% more applications than non-sponsored jobs. Don't wait any longer. Speed up your hiring right now with Indeed. And listeners of this show will get a $75 sponsored job credit to get your jobs more visibility at Indeed.com/PODKATZ13. Just go to Indeed.com/PODKATZ13 right now and support our show by saying you heard about Indeed on this podcast. Terms and conditions apply. Hiring? Indeed is all you need.
Joe Rogan, my mind automatically went to Elon Musk, and I'm like, wow, like he's a tech giant who bought a media company. A lot of people don't consider Twitter as like a media, but that's literally what it is. Twitter is
Facts.
a media platform,
Right?
And he immediately was like, "Yo, let me get this media platform." I mean, Jeff Bezos. A lot of people don't know Amazon owns which one is it? Is it New York Post or Wall Street? I think it's New York Times. Amazon owns one of those. A lot of people don't know that. And so, and I found it out through reading the book, The Everything Store. And so, literally, Amazon. That's why some people say like I forget. It's either New York Times. Eric, let us know. Eric gonna fact check me. They own one of them, and people say that you can't trust when that article speaks about Amazon because Amazon owns them. And so, literally, these tech giants are buying these media platforms.
Right.
And so, like, literally, you saying it, I'm like, oh, those are facts. That's literally what the tech giants are doing.
Washington Post.
Washington Post.
There you go.
Thank you for that. All right, so cool.
Yeah.
Appreciate Eric for the fact. That felt like a Joe Rogan moment when Joe Rogan be like,
I got you, man.
I forgot his name, man. He's like, he fact checked me. Pull it up.
Yeah,
Pull it
exactly.
up. Pull up the clip.
That's so funny. All right, so, but that wasn't it for your music career because some other things started happening. And,
Yeah.
And so what happened with that? Because I know that we were speaking offline about things started kind of going direction. There were opportunities that were happening, but then like you ended up getting married somewhere along the line, and wifey was like, So
Yeah, so for me, again, media and code, media and tech. So I knew that I had the biggest leverage as an independent contributor with music. Mm-hmm. That was my thing. So I was reaching a mass amount of people, and eventually I decided to pivot. Before Despacito was a thing,
yeah.
I decided to pivot to the Latin music industry. And I pushed through, man. Like I got, some accolades. I got some people to recognize me. If you guys are familiar with Colombian artistry, Juanes was a big name. He recognized me. J Balvin. I went to MTV Tres in down south, man. Like J Balvin reposted some of my music on his Facebook page back when Facebook was still popular.
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
Cool.
And I thought that was it, bro.
Yeah.
But truth be told, man, like you're a dime a dozen when it comes to the music industry.
Yeah.
And I knew that I had to have those hard skills that would eventually translate the media production that I had, the music production that I had, to something that was a little bit more tangible. So when I got married, my son was born, I knew that I wanted to have a little bit more stability where I didn't have to travel as much, where I didn't have to be in front of crowds or whatever. And I decided to pivot into tech. And the funny thing is, the person that got me into tech was another musician friend of mine. And he said that he took a tech coding bootcamp in 2016 it was.
Yeah.
And he said a lot of creative people, a lot of musicians have the brain to transfer their skill set into coding.
Yeah.
The way that the mind works for musicians, it works the same way as it does for coding. And that blew my mind. And so ever since then, man, I started taking online classes. Shouts out to Codecademy. Shouts out to edX, man. I started dabbling in that stuff. And the rest is history, man.
Yo, that's fire. So in what way, in hearing that, I could see some parallels, but in what way would you say, because I mean, we got artists, musicians, all different types of people listening. How would you say that the person that has the mind for music or just that type of like artistry, that they might also have like a bit of a mind when it comes to like coding or just something in tech in general?
I would say for me, man, I can't speak for people in general. I would say the first thing is communication. If you're a rapper, if you're an artist that is a lyricist, the first thing is communication.
Yeah.
You're transferring your knowledge, your perspective, the things that you see around you into words. And that is literally coding. You are coding a problem. You're taking a problem and you're taking that problem from an abstract thought to code, to create a solution for people. That would be the first thing. The second thing is, I don't think people give themselves enough credit for the fact that they are able to be logical, you know? And I feel like for most artists, they have a creative mind, yes, but they can still be very logical, meaning that like they can transfer something that's abstract and create something that other people can understand and feel. Yeah. Right? And so you're transferring something that's abstract and you're transferring into words, feelings that other people can relate to. So that's still taking something that's super creative, abstract, non-regulated, into something that other people can understand, feel, have an impact with, or rather you can impact them for. So I don't know. For me, that's what resonates with me. I'm sure it's different for other people, but I feel like that's what it is.
Yeah, no, that's a fire example. If you're interested in breaking into a six-figure career in tech or scaling to over $500,000 in tech, then this video is for you. If not, then just swipe away. But I was able to break into the tech industry October 2021, and in my first year, I scaled to over $500,000 in tech. My second year, I was able to gross over $1 million. More importantly, I was able to freely help over 600 people break into six-figure tech careers as well and scale further in the industry. Now, the number one question I've been getting from people is, how was I able to do this? How was I able to make so much money? How was I able to also help as many people as I've been able to help? Well, aside from doing coaching calls and trying to spend a whole bunch of time helping people individually, I've decided to create the Tech Rich program, where I literally break every single thing down that I've done and what I've been doing to show others how they can break into tech faster or scale to over $500,000 plus within their first few years in the tech industry as well. All you got to do, click the link in my bio. All the information's there. Check out the description. Message me if you have any other questions, and I'll see you on your journey scaling in tech. So you ended up getting in tech. So you had a friend basically put you on and tell you, hey, bro, like you could do it. Look into this. You did a coding boot camp and were able to get into the tech industry. So once you got in the industry, I mean, really, like, what was that like? What was that experience like once you got into the industry, and also like just your journey so far in the space?
So let me give you context, man. So I started in insurance 2014, still pursuing the music part-time. I'm trying to be this Latin pop artist, J Balvin, you know what I mean? Like the next J Balvin, that's what I'm trying to be. And the reason being was because I wanted to provide for my family, my immediate family, my wife, my kid, and my parents. So I thought that was the biggest leverage that I could have. So fast forward 5 years into the making, and I realized that I'm not getting anywhere. So I have a frustration. I'm an insurance customer service agent is basically what I'm at. 6.5 years in the making. And I realized, man, I'm like, dude, I'm not getting anywhere with my music. I'm not getting anywhere with my career. What can I do? I call up a friend from middle school. I say, bro, I see you're doing well. What are you doing? He works at Microsoft as an account executive. He tells me, bro, 2014, the year I got hired for my company, I got hired in at 35K. This man got hired in at 90K. Ooh. And I kid you not, man, like I went to a more prestigious school. Yeah. You know what I mean? I got a more prestigious degree. But the fact of the matter was, it doesn't matter what you can do theoretically. It matters what you can do practically. So this is why I want to press upon people is that you may feel like you're not as qualified for a specific role, but if you have the hard skills and you can communicate that well enough, you can catapult to, the highest levels. You know, limits the sky. Sky's the limit. You know what I mean? So by the time 2019 came, and I'm talking to friends that are working at Amazon, Microsoft, at a former career coach, still a career coach of mine, who worked at Uber, Facebook, all that stuff, and they're all of them, man, they're impressing upon me that like you have to have the confidence first, and then from there you can acquire the hard skills. That's what it is, you know.
No, that really is what it is. And it's so interesting to hear that, because like I think through so many things where you got me thinking back to, I remember 3 years ago, and I was looking at, of course, looking on social media. Yeah. And I'm looking at all the friends of mine from back in the day, even my early 20s, where many of them, they went to school, they got the degrees, and, they were making, 50, 60,000. And to me, where I was at, that was a lot of money, because I was so broke. And I remember I was looking online and I was punching myself. I was like, bro, you're being a poet. Like, you're like, and mind you, I was traveling online. I looked like I was popping. I had a good amount of social media followers. Right. I got to open up for some cool people, especially in the Christian space. Like I was a very top, like one of the top poets, even especially in the Christian space. He's all right. And I was flying a lot, traveling a lot. It was really huge on paper. It looked cool. But realistically, I was living in the hood. And it's like, it was so many people that were telling me like, Cyrus, man, I'm trying to be like you, man. And I'd be thinking like, no, you don't. I'd be standing on the other side of my merch table like, right. That's great. Okay, here's your $15 t-shirt type thing. And I think through that, and I remember looking at all the people that I was like, man, I should have went to college. I should have did that. Right. And of course, like now, and this isn't like a ha-ha laughing moment, laughing at those people moment, because they're good people, but like everything kind of spun around. Yeah. And I was like, man, like, whoa, I'm happy I didn't do all that stuff. And I'm happy, God set it up that way for me to, of course, now be in the industry. And now I've been able to help a lot of those same friends now get in the industry who are like, yo, Cyrus, man, I'm making 50, 60, 70,000, bro. I'm trying to get to where you're at now. And I'm like, cool. Like, yo, let me show you how to get here. Yeah. One of the things I think about, though, is I look at a lot of artists, and we could talk secular artists. A lot of them aren't really making money, and a lot of them that are making money are caught into some crazy deals to where the money that they look like they have is really a loan from their label, and they got to pay the label back and then some. But we're not even gonna go that direction. Like realistically, we were talking earlier about like a lot of Christian hip hop artists. Yeah. And bro, I think about this a lot, where a lot of the Christian hip hop artists, and we're not talking Reach record artists. Sure. Because they Reach record artists, they eating. Most of them are at least eating. Right. But it's like the vast majority, even the ones that are popping and popular, I know for a fact they're not doing good financially. Yep. And they look so popular. Everything looks so great. Yeah. And it's like, I know they're not, and it breaks my heart, because I'm like, I think through it, I'm like, and it's not even about just getting a job in tech and like stopping your music career. Sure. But bro, I think about this sometimes, and I want, like, I guess your input and thoughts on this. I'm like, yo, a lot of these Christian hip hop artists could really benefit from getting a job in tech, because, and I thought through this as a poet, like I look back and I'm like, man, if I wish I'd have got in tech when I was a poet, because first off, okay, you're artists, when do artists work? Or usually work for them as a show. Now, mind you, they're in the studio, they're working on stuff. But even when you're in the studio, most times it's evening. When you're doing shows, it's evenings and usually weekends. Yep. Even if it's in the daytime. If it's daytime, it's usually weekend. or it might be a Friday, maybe in rare occasions a Thursday show, but usually it's weekends and it's nighttime.
Right.
And then it's like a lot of these artists they're using the money they're making from a few of their stops or selling their t-shirts to try to fund their music career. And because of that, they have very little money for production, very little money for a good engineer,
right,
very little money for a vast majority of things. And it's like, yo, you could get a job in tech, more than likely work remote. You could be on tour. You could literally be doing a tour, funding your tour, at least the first part of your tour until ticket sales come in, through your job in tech. And so now, mind you, I think through this, but I know, okay, I've never been a music artist. There's so many layers to it that I don't understand. And so that's why I was like, yo, I gotta have this conversation with Nico, because you know levels to it that I don't know.
Sure.
And so when you think through it, if you could communicate to your younger self, or realistically, let's say now, like communicate to like younger artists that are like, man, I don't want to give up my career. You know, I still want to do this, but man, I'm broke. Like, what would some of your thoughts be with that?
I think the biggest thing, man, is like understand that you have to fulfill. So specifically to the Christian audience and the Christian hip hop audience, I felt a need to fulfill my obligation as a Christian man, right?
Yeah.
Somebody who was a husband, somebody who was a father.
Yeah.
Right. Meet the basic needs.
Mm-hmm.
And I felt like the way that I was operating as a artist was not providing. I was not providing for my family. You know what I mean? So I had to pivot from that quick. Mind you, I do think that down the line, if you're making six figures, 100, 150, 200, 300K, you could take that money and you could literally invest in either your artistry, your music brand, or more importantly, I would say invest in other artists and build a conglomerate.
Bro.
You know what I mean?
That's crazy.
Yes, and build a conglomerate. So I'm getting to the point in my life right now, salary-wise, where I'm starting to invest in some of my friends.
Ooh.
You know what I mean? And I'm starting to invest in some of my friends who I know have a good heart, but may not have the whole wherewithal.
Yeah.
But I'm not just giving them money. I'm telling them, this is what you need to do, and advising them and counseling them, only because I've been through the ringer as an artist myself.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
You know, so I think that's one of the things. I think the other factor is like, you have to understand, man, like this music thing, I grew up around hip hop. I wanted to be a ball player and a rapper.
Yeah.
And a lot of this stuff is smoke and mirrors, man.
Bro, yes 100%. It is.
So for me, and even in the Christian space, dude, like you see these people doing good, and trust me when I say, like Cyrus said, they're not doing good.
No, they're not.
It looks good, sure, from the outside, but at the end of the day, the friends that were making way more money than I was were living peacefully, quietly, reserved, private, and they were taking first class trips to Italy, Europe. You know, I'm asking, what y'all do?
Yeah.
I work for Amazon. I'm a data scientist. I'm an account executive for Microsoft, yada, yada, so on and so forth. I'm like, okay, cool. I'm making $50K and supporting a family of 3. Like, I'm trying to figure out how to get to where y'all at. You know, I'm like rapping for venues of like 20,000 people.
Yeah.
Mm. And it's not paying the bills.
Yeah.
It doesn't matter what it looks like. You have to get into it the right way, and I would say leverage technology, leverage the tech field to fulfill your dreams.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Bro, that's so good. That's so good. I low key, sometimes I think about hitting up Ryan and them with Track Stars and be like, bro, like, and I'm not really too big on asking people to come on their platform, but I think about it. You know, Ryan actually just got in tech.
Oh, I didn't know.
Yeah. Yep. He did a boot camp and he's in tech now. He's either in tech sales or I think he's a sales engineer. One or the other. And he's in Track Stars. And I'm like, bro, are you familiar with Track Stars?
Oh, for sure.
Yeah. And I'm like, bro, like, you know, I think through like, man, a lot of those artists that come on their radio show, they're broke. And I mean, especially, it became very clear when the pandemic hit. It's like, obviously they make their money through tours. And mind you, I want to be very clear. This is no shade to any artist. This isn't like you're laughing at somebody because they're broke. Because again, we don't believe that someone's net worth is connected to their worth or their self-worth.
Yeah.
It's like, yo, you have self-worth, just period. It doesn't matter if you're making $5 million a year, if you're making $5 a year. At the end of the day, like you have worth because you're made in the image of God. I want to be very clear about that. Nevertheless, we care about people's financial health just as we care about their spiritual health. And I mean, God cares about that. Like, we know this. And so that being said, a lot of those artists, I'm like, man, they're not really doing good. And I kind of think through it. I'm like, man, these need to be conversations I feel like are not happening. It's like people were talking about, I mean, there are even conversations about like marriage and relationships, but it's like, bro, people are not really talking in the Christian community like, yo, a lot of people are really struggling. And they just act like, oh, it's okay. It's like, yo, God's gonna come through. And it's like, yo, sometimes the way God comes through is by the practical wisdom and practical information that's out there.
Man, I wish somebody said that to me when I was in college, bro, because I felt like I needed that push. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And now that I'm talking to my friends who are still in the Christian hip hop space, I feel like I have a duty and a responsibility to share that and impart that upon them. You know, there's opportunity. Here's the thing. When I didn't know English, I didn't know how to communicate my worth. You said it yourself. I have worth.
Yeah.
But at the end of the day, if I don't know how to communicate that worth, it's not going anywhere. So once I learned English, I could communicate my worth to the point that my teacher said, hey, I want to jump you a grade, right? When I went into the right space, I got a promotion in 6 months, 2 levels up, and nearly doubled my income.
Sheesh.
You know, but I didn't know what I didn't know until I started talking to people. So once I started talking to the right people, once I started listening to the right conversations from people who either A, were in the same position that I was at, who were trying to be ball players, rappers, whatever, and then they transition. Look at Ryan Leslie, one of the biggest independent artists ever to make it in terms of he self-funded his career. He was in Bad Boy Records. What did he do? He transitioned into tech. He invented Superphone. Right, this man's now in finance. This man went to Harvard, bro. Harvard graduate, became a record producer, he artist, all that stuff. What did he do? Even though he was like genius, Harvard graduate, all that stuff, working for Bad Boy, he transitioned into tech. Yeah. Because at the end of the day, man, chameleonaire too, bro.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So at the end of the day, you have to sustain yourself.
Yeah.
And I feel a duty and a responsibility to give back to my community.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I feel a duty and a responsibility. If I came out from the trenches, from the gutter, whatever it was, I feel a duty and a responsibility to give back. If that doesn't push you and motivate you, man, I don't know what will.
Bro, come on.
You know?
I love that. Bro, so you're able to get into the tech industry. And we talked about, of course, you leveraging skill sets that you had outside of what you're able to learn in the boot camp, but other skill sets you had to be able to, of course, get in tech, but also be able to scale. But what are some things that you've done? Because a lot of people are missing out on the value of building a brand. And I mean, I'm watching you online, and I'm like, yo, this guy's building a brand. His stuff is like really quality, really good. And I see a lot of people that are in tech that are making money, and maybe they're even using that money and pouring into other stuff that's dope. But a lot of them are not really caring a lot or caring much at all about their name, image, and likeness, their own personal brand. And so, one, how have you been able to build a brand? And two, like, why do you believe it's important that people build a brand?
When you're a musician, an artist, you're a dime a dozen. The only thing that sells your music is your brand. So I learned that early on, and I knew that regardless of where I went, I knew I had to build my brand. And I'll tell you this much, man. The fact that I built my brand on LinkedIn early on is why I got the promotions that I got.
Yep.
And you gave me the confidence too, man. Like when we talked, you said, continue to build your brand, continue to use that leverage. I'm still doing that to this day. But the fact of the matter was, I didn't know what I didn't know. I transferred my brand from Instagram, YouTube, TikTok, wherever platform you're on, to LinkedIn.
Yeah.
And I started making those connections, man. And 2020, man, like one of my senior vice presidents basically handed me 2 job opportunities because of the fact that I was documenting my journey and branding myself in the appropriate way. And that's what catapulted my career outside of customer service, outside of auto claims, and into eventually tech. It went from risk management, 2 years into that, double promotion, to eventually landing that internal opportunity for boot camp in tech, to now becoming a software engineer. And mind you, I'm not the best software engineer. I'm not like trying to proclaim that. But at the end of the day, dude, like that's what catapulted me into that career space. And I know that I can take those hard skills and transfer them elsewhere, or become like a product owner, product manager, and skyrocket my career, man. You know, it all comes down to personal branding nowadays.
That's real.
You know?
Bro, so Bro, we had a few different conversations here, man. I got to learn a lot about you that I didn't know. And, bro, like, I'm so happy that your family was able to escape that situation that they were in and everything that was happening. I think about, I want to kind of circle back to the beginning. There was something you said at the beginning where you were talking about how, and I love that you harped on it. You had mentioned how you said, yo, to the rest of the world, the narcos, the Pablo Escobar, all that stuff looks so cool. And it's like, oh, like, but it's like, yo, to us, it was a terrorist. Like, that was a horrible space to be in.
Yeah. And
sometimes I think about this. I think I shared this with Eric before. Sometimes I look at this state of, and I mean, I'll say this boldly, like, I look at a lot of people that are seeing rappers get locked up, you know, rappers that are getting locked up that have done atrocious things. And people are saying, yo, free this rapper, free this person, free that person.
Yeah.
And, you know, I was looking at it and I was thinking, and I said, you know what? I said, this is exactly the same way Nazis celebrated Hitler. It's the same way that certain Russians celebrated Stalin, or the same way, to bring it closer to home, the same way certain people thought Pablo was cool.
Right.
And it's like, yo, it's a terrorist. And of course, even today, especially those of us that didn't live in that, we watch these shows or we look at that stuff and we hear, oh, that's old Pablo Escobar, you know. And it's like, I look at that today and I'm like, it makes me sick to my stomach. I'm like, we're just as goofy. And I don't care how y'all feel about this. I mean, let me know what y'all think. But I'm gonna tell y'all, we're just as goofy when we say free this rapper or we celebrate these people. And then they're literally rich from being serial killers
and perpetuating the same through their music.
Yes, they're rapping that they're a serial killer. It's almost as if Jeffrey Dahmer, you gave him a microphone, and he started like bragging about the things he did, and then people were like, "Oh my God, that's so incredible! Let's put him on a stage. Let's pay him all this money." Then he gets locked up, and everybody says, "Man, free Dahmer, free Jeffrey." It's like what? And so, and I wanted to say that earlier. And I was like, yo, I want to mention that because I feel like that was so important. And I think that's a way people can resonate with it in a way that, you know, that they can kind of touch base with it. Right. And so I was happy that you said the way that you didn't just say, oh, man, we got away because it was crazy, but you really doubled down on that. And so I'm grateful to God that your family was able to get out of that situation, able to escape those assassination attempts, all of those different elements that clearly God from the beginning had his hand on you, had his hand on your family. And I'm just grateful for your journey, for where you're able to get to now. Thankful just really for you coming on the platform, bro. Like, you sharing your story, you sharing the gems and nuggets that could truly help people, especially a lot of artists that are out here and really a lot of immigrants.
You just realized your business needed to hire someone yesterday. How can you find amazing candidates fast? Easy. Just use Indeed. Stop struggling to get your job post seen on other job sites. With Indeed sponsored jobs, your post jumps to the top of the page for your relevant candidates, so you can reach the people you want faster. According to Indeed data, sponsored jobs posted directly on Indeed have 45% more applications than non-sponsored jobs. Don't wait any longer. Speed up your hiring right now with Indeed. And listeners of this show will get a $75 sponsored job credit to get your jobs more visibility at Indeed.com/kidsandfamily. Just go to Indeed.com/kidsandfamily right now and support our show by saying you heard about Indeed on this podcast. Terms and conditions apply. Hiring? Indeed is all you need. You just realized your business needed to hire someone yesterday. How can you find amazing candidates fast? Easy. Just use Indeed. Stop struggling to get your job post seen on other job sites. With Indeed sponsored jobs, your post jumps to the top of the page for your relevant candidates, so you can reach the people you want faster. According to Indeed data, sponsored jobs posted directly on Indeed have 45% more applications than non-sponsored jobs. Don't wait any longer. Speed up your hiring right now with Indeed. And listeners of this show will get a $75 sponsored job credit to get your jobs more visibility at Indeed.com/kidsandfamily. Just go to Indeed.com/kidsandfamily right now and support our show by saying you heard about Indeed on this podcast. Terms and conditions apply. Hiring? Indeed is all you need.